Hello, my name is Dr. Jennifer Green. I'm a Fulbright Scholar here at Al-Baqa Applied University at the Learning and Teaching Technology Center. In this video, I'm going to talk about setting goals for your programs and courses by looking at it through the lens of backward design. What is backward design? Well, according to Wiggins and McTee, it's creating curriculum, courses, and units that have the goal of facilitating student learning rather than a focus on covering a particular amount of curriculum. In other words, we want to start with what students need to learn rather than starting with the textbook. So how do we do this? Well, first we start with identifying the desired results. This is where we decide on the outcomes or objectives for the course. Then we think about how we'll determine if students met those objectives. And so that's when we design the assessments that align with the outcomes. If the outcome is to defend a point of view in a history class, the assessment would likely be an essay or perhaps a speech, not a multiple choice test. Only after we have our objectives and our assessments, then we can think about how we're going to do the teaching. We all have our favorite activities, lectures, and discussion questions. But if they don't help students meet the specific objectives that we've outlined, we may need to find other ways to teach and other content to teach. In this video, I'm going to focus on just that first step, identifying the desired results. In other videos, I'll talk about assessment and instruction. So there are three main parts to think about when planning the desired results. These are competencies, knowledge, and skills. Now there are several definitions of competencies that you can find online, but this is one that I really liked. It is developed through a shared community vision. Competencies express the most critical outcomes learners need to thrive in a changing world. Competencies are the interrelated knowledge, skills, and dispositions that are relevant, measurable, and transferable, and can be applied throughout a learner's lifetime. I like this because there's a shared vision about what we want students to know. As a program or department, talking about our goals for students is very important. We want students to learn how to be successful beyond the classroom. In this part of the sentence, they are defining competency more concretely. It's a blend of knowledge and skills and dispositions. It's these three things together that make competency. And finally, we want students to learn things that will stay with them for life, not just until the next exam. Knowledge and skills are often mentioned together, but they are different. In short, knowledge is theoretical and skills are putting that knowledge into practice. Skills are often considered practical. Another way to think about this is that knowledge is made up of facts, concepts, and principles, while skills are the processes, strategies, and methods. As e-learning industry says, knowledge is information acquired through sensory input, like reading and watching and listening and touching. But skills refer to applying that knowledge to specific situations. We can also think about knowledge and learning through the lens of Bloom's taxonomy. The goal is to move students from simply remembering facts to being able to use their knowledge to analyze, evaluate, and create. On this slide, you can see some of the verbs that help with writing goals of your programs or courses. Now that we have these three definitions in place, let's look at competencies. I like to think of competencies like enduring understandings or a big idea. You can ask yourself these questions to help you formulate the competencies for your program or course. What should students remember long after they've forgotten the details? What are the key ideas, processes, or topics of this discipline? What are some misconceptions that students often have that they require uncovering in your class? And what are the big questions, problems, or issues facing your discipline? In order to meet these competencies, we need to have an idea about what knowledge students need. We can think about general and specific facts, ideas, and concepts that students need to know. And of course, developing skills is a critical piece of what we do. What are the skills that students should be able to do? So, what might that look like? For this series of videos about backward design, I hope that by the end, you'll have knowledge. What knowledge? You'll have the knowledge to read objectives and be able to classify them as competencies, knowledge, or skills. So that's the knowledge level. For skills, instructors will be able to create appropriate objectives for their courses. And finally, the competency, that bigger umbrella. Instructors will be able to design courses that meet the needs of their students. So your goal or task is to write 2 to 3 competencies, 2 to 3 knowledge outcomes for your program, and 2 to 3 skills for your program and courses. In another video, I'll talk about writing these outcomes and objectives. Thank you.